Hey, it's State of State. We got your Nittany Lion update. It's a football discussion with Tom and Justin, so kick back and press play.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to State of State, a Penn State football show presented by FanDuel on the Bleav Podcast Network. I'm Tom Hannafin, joined as always by Justin King, former Penn State and NFL defensive back. Today, our guest is David Pollack, the host of See Ball, Get Ball, joining us as a part of the Bleav Podcast Network, formerly of ESPN's College GameDay, as a longtime analyst and a star defensive player for the Georgia Bulldogs once upon a time. Won just about every award imaginable in 2004, SEC Defensive Player of the Year twice over, first round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. David, I'd be here all day if we were going to list your resume, but today we're here to talk about Penn State football. And Justin and I were listening recently on See Ball, Get Ball. You think very, very highly of what Penn State can be in 2025. So just at first blush, what are the things that make you optimistic about this team this season?
I think last year starts it. You watched last year, you had success. I think the 1-2 punch at coordinator, like last year, I was a huge Colton Ecke fan coming in because you watch him at Kansas and he knows how to manipulate defense. He knows how to shift in motion and highlight his guys. And I thought he did it too at a high level without the game-breaking wide receivers or playmakers or tight end like you had last year. So I think year two, Colton Ecke coming in, Jim Knowles comes over. That's obviously, one of the best defensive coordinators in all of college football. You're never lacking talent at Penn State. I just think having that 1-2 punch is the best in the country. Like that's the best offensive coordinator defensive combo in the country. I think it allows James Franklin to be James Franklin, which means recruit, be the guy, lead. Like that, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not an insult to James Franklin. Like that's a positive thing to have both sides of the ball, like veteran guys that you trust, that can do it at a high level. Now go out and keep getting the dogs and the dudes. And do I have some reservations a little bit about losing 2 top 15 guys in the draft and saying, yeah, they're the best team in the country? Yeah, but the pieces that are all coming back with the coordinators, with the systems that have been in place, with the schedule, I think it all sets up, man. They were one of the 3 teams that I was debating on whether I wanted to pick them to win a national championship.
That's pretty impressive. When you ask those different type of questions, we're like all close into the Penn State ecosystem. So we sometimes hear storylines that maybe not catch national attention. From your perspective, from a national perspective, what do you think the major gaps are for Penn State?
I don't think it's gaps as much as unknowns. Last year, everybody saw how Penn State's season ended. 0 catches for a wide receiver in a semifinals game. That's not good enough. Like the wide receivers out wide, you go to Syracuse and you grab Pena, you go to USC, like you go to these different spots and get some guys now. And I think they're good pieces. They're different pieces, whether it be speed, whether it be size, whether it be route running. So which one of those guys get on the same page with Drew Aller? The passing game has to continue to grow. When I watch Drew Aller and when I break him down, like I love his size. I love his ability to take care of the football. He did a really good job of it last year, despite the way it finished. He took care of the ball, didn't make a bunch of dumb decisions, scrambled, by the way, with his size and showed you some ability to make people miss and make good plays. I love the running game. I love the offensive line. I think it's just receivers and QB now, getting on the same page. And can that be explosive? Because we saw last year it was the Ty Warren show. Like, it was literally him everywhere, all over the place, even at center, like even at Wildcat, even at quarterback. Like we saw him all over the place. And I think who are the guys that you can trust in the passing game? We know what you get with Singleton and Allen. That's done. Like we know that. We know what you get with Aller. Can Aller continue to grow too? With the seams are where he does the most damage. Outside the numbers, can he be good? Like can he take those routes outside the numbers, be efficient, be proficient, as opposed to, dropping so much down? Because up the seams, he was dirty. He was one of the best in the country at that. So I think him expanding, growing, but the experience of all the other guys around him, the experience with Colton Ecke in another year is why I'm buying.
You brought in some roster management, roster construction type of things. We talked about Payne coming in, the development, the staff changes, staff turnover. From this new age of college sports, obviously we're getting into almost NFL roster management. Okay, who's going into the recruiting scene or going through the draft, or who's going through the transfer portal? From where you've been sitting from the national perspective, have you seen any best practices for teams and programs and how they've been attacking their talent acquisition or roster management?
You're definitely seeing a bunch of it, Justin, like different styles. Like down the road where I live, Kirby Smart, like he ain't interested in hiring a GM. Like he's going to do it. Like that's what he does. That's how he's done it. I think that system, there's a ton of places across the country that are hiring GMs and NFL backgrounds, some of them college backgrounds. Obviously, it's just the game has changed, and that's okay. Like it's still a great game. It's the game we love. But I think all the stuff off the field. First of all, here's what happened. When you have NIL, and now you can pay players, and then you have movement with the transfer portal. Like you talk about putting Crisco on a fire, bro. Like it's gonna burn. Like it's the ultimate. I can move to get the money. So there's just so much that managing that went into it. It was difficult. It was hard. A lot of coaches like lost some lives off their years off their lives because of how difficult it is to manage. And so there's a bunch of ways to do it. But to me, the most successful way that we've seen is I got to recruit at an elite level, bring in elite talent, develop that elite talent. And then to me, the transfer portal is a supplication. It's not a lifeline. It's not the program. We haven't seen it done that way yet. We haven't seen somebody win with, the transfer portal being the main lifeblood. Like, listen, Ole Miss did it and turned it around. It was really good. You've seen other programs start to adopt that philosophy. But I think it's lifeblood of recruiting, developing, and then supplementing in the transfer portal.
State of State is a proud supporter of Blue White Outfitters. Blue White Outfitters was created as a retail shop meant to highlight the confidence, competitiveness, and fearlessness of the elite athletes found throughout the history of Penn State University. Check out their Lockdown U and Lawn Boys merchandise today. All sales from Blue White Outfitters directly benefit Penn State student athletes. Also, official State of State merchandise is available now. Support the show and grab State of State t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. Visit www.bluewhiteoutfitters.com today. David, I was glad you mentioned Kirby Smart there, James Franklin a little bit earlier on, and the knock against James Franklin during his time at Penn State is that he can't win the big game. It's a 2-game season, all that sort of stuff. According to FanDuel, Penn State is the 4th best odds to win the national championship this year, and their over-under in the regular season is 10.5 wins. So it is that kind of proverbial 2-game schedule. I know Penn State and Penn State followers don't necessarily believe that, but you take every game as it comes. And the knock against Franklin, I talked about it. Kirby Smart couldn't win the big one until he won the big one. Same thing with Dabo Swinney and company. Plenty of other great head coaches that you've seen. What do you think is different about what James Franklin has this year? I know you mentioned the coordinators, but what's the X factor? What separates them from the rest of the country?
Well, first of all, I don't want to be that guy either that lets James Franklin off the hook. The numbers are the numbers, and they're not good. Like they're not good versus top 5 opponents. But here's a question that I would ask everybody. Like, how many times did he go into that fight with equal talent? Like, I would say not very many times. So, like, I'm a high school football coach now, guys. I'm a lot better coach with really good talent. Let me tell you something, bro. I can be really good. We got our quarterback a year ago. Buster Faulkner's son. Buster Faulkner's the OC at Georgia Tech. Harrison Faulkner's his son. Like, we went from a really good program to a state championship team, like just like that. So I think that has to be taken into context. To me, the biggest difference, though, is the 1-2 punch I talked about at coordinator. Like that's what separates this. You've got a guy that can absolutely run the show on the defensive side of the football. You got a guy that can absolutely run the show on the offensive side of the football. I don't need you to hold my hand. I need you to go recruit. I need you to go do the other things. Like those are grown-ups. Those are adults that can handle that business. So I think, those are things you take into account. Like, I think the talent which James has played with, but like offensive firepower this year now, having your quarterback, because a lot of times it was like, I can't wait to get rid of so-and-so quarterback. And I could list several Penn State quarterbacks. And it's like, oh, the next guy. And then Aller's the first, like, quote unquote, first round pick, like size, arm talent. Like, I want to see you use him. I want to see you win. But listen, Penn State should be happy as a program where they're at. Retaining all of their guys to come back like they did, I think is big time. Adding to it, building on it, and yeah, the schedule. You host Oregon, which is great. It's a whiteout, which is even better because I grew up in the South. I got the experience with College GameDay, the whiteout, one of the best in the country. And a lot of times that gets snagged in the noon window nowadays. So it's nice to have it at night and to get that atmosphere that you'll have, because West Coast to East Coast last year, you saw it's a grind for a lot of those teams. Oregon has to come to you. Ohio State, I mean, what has it been since Marcus Allen, like blocking the field goal? And like it's been a hot minute. Like, and I get it, but there's not a lot of teams besides Michigan that's beating Ohio State. So this is definitely the year. I tell you what, I can't give you any slack probably after this one. Like, you've got all the pieces in place. You've got the talent. You're not taking a back seat in your league in talent this year to anyone. So that's why I feel like, this year is probably going to be the year for Penn State.
One last question before we get you out of here. You're a college football Hall of Famer. Obviously, you were a star defensive lineman for the Georgia Bulldogs. I have to ask you about Penn State's front four, especially Dennis Sutton. We saw what he was able to do, especially in the college football playoff last year. And then Zane Durant at defensive tackle, two likely All-Americans, two guys on a team where some sources think there could be 11 possibly drafted players from this team. But how do you feel about Dennis Sutton and Zane Durant?
Well, and then I'm hearing more about other guys too. I'm hearing more about freshmen, and like it's not that's the beautiful thing about Penn State, man. Like you do go, okay, I lose Abdul Carter, but it was Chop Robinson before that, and we can just keep going down the list of guys that they just know how to get after the quarterback and be disruptive. I think when I watch Zane, he's a game wrecker. Like that dude in the middle, like just I think he's the most disruptive guy at his position. Now he's got to stay healthy, obviously, play more snaps, but from a defensive tackle standpoint, just the quickness, the ability to penetrate, like that screws everything up from the inside out. Like everything starts from the inside out. And if he can continue to get pressure, if he can continue to penetrate like he does, I'm interested to see with Knowles. Knowles is not a blitz happy guy. Like that's not typically been his MO. So how does he use that and the other pass rushers, by the way, that we're going to learn about from Penn State, because there's going to be a freshman that come on the scene that you're going to go, who the heck is that guy? Where did he come from? Like, so it's just it's got to be fun to see that side of the ball. Like you talk about development and seeing guys like pass rushers, defensive linemen, playmakers. Like we can go to we didn't even mention Micah Parsons and some of the other guys in the past that continue to see. They go to the league from Penn State and you're like, who the freak is that guy? Like, where did he come from? Oh, Penn State. Like, and I think so, putting that together with the offense, with Jim Knowles, his system, the ability to kind of run that three high and make it look different and make it feel weird for coaches and for coordinators, whoever's going against them, man. It's just, you just got to be excited. You got to be jacked up. And listen, I'm a Georgia guy. So I'm going to give Penn State fans some counsel. Okay. Like we did it for 40 years. Okay. Like same boat, man. Like this, never get too excited, never get in the, like it just, and then a couple of back-to-back natties. And it's like, oh, this is fun. This is awesome. And I think Penn State has a real chance to Final Four a year ago. Like now everybody coming back, like prove that they're the national brand. They're one of the better ones in the country. They can take that next step. I think this is the year they can win the Big Ten.
Well, it's been about 40 years since Penn State won their national championship back in 1986. So we're hoping some of that positive mojo and juju comes our way. David, thank you so much to all of our listeners and viewers. Check out C-Ball, Get Ball, wherever you get your podcasts, part of the Bleav Podcast Network. David, thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks, Justin. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you all so much for joining us. This episode and our entire library of shows is available now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Please like, comment, subscribe, rate us, and turn on notifications. Follow us on social media at State of State Pod. Comment on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't done so already, you can become a member of our YouTube channel for just 99 cents a month. You can get all upcoming episodes of State of State, plus our entire members-only playlist, ad-free, commercial-free. Hit the join button on our homepage or follow the link in the description of this podcast. State of State is presented by FanDuel.